Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another episode. I'm back to my old form where I decided not to turn the microphones on when we first started this episode about 8 minutes ago. So we're going to redo this. So welcome back again. We hope, we appreciate you coming back. We hope you enjoy the show. Please share it with a friend. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Smash that like button for all of you on YouTube. On Apple and Google Podcasts, although I think it's like we're up to 70% of people listen to this on Apple Podcasts. Like we do not have a diverse crowd as far as phones go.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of Android folks out there?
Not a lot of, or if they are, not a device that another like largish population listen to on a Roku. I don't know how you listen on a Roku. I guess there's got to be an app in there.
I guess.
I guess I listen to Spotify on my TiVo 4K stream stack.
Yeah,
I listen to an app on that. But
so some of my podcasts I listen to on Spotify.
Yeah, me too.
And so Rogan you have to listen to on Spotify.
Sure.
But then Huberman is one I try to catch frequently. He's on both, but I listen to him on Spotify. So I guess I just have it. I think it's whoever I heard like of the show from. So I first was introduced to Huberman from Rogan, so that's how. So I was just there, so that's where I went.
I go to Spotify because Rogan is there, and all the other podcasts are there too. Yeah. Like he's the only one that's kind of siphoned off onto Spotify. Mm-hmm. It's like if we were only on Deezer or something.
Well, if they wanted to pay us a bunch of money to do it.
Yeah, right. I mean, is Deezer handing out contracts? I mean, I don't think they are.
We'll be exclusive to Deezer.
Deezer, right.
I'll be exclusive to OnlyFans.
If we were exclusive to Deezer, I think our listener count would actually go down, and I didn't know I didn't know that'd be possible. We go from like 30 people down to 3. Nobody, I don't think anybody uses Deezer anymore. Although I heard it's really popular for like just music. But I don't know how that operates. Like I know like Spotify, how that kind of generally works. But
yeah.
Anyway.
There's another one, Stitcher, that used to be around.
Yeah, still is.
Okay.
I think SiriusXM bought up a lot of them. Like they bought up our podcast host, which is Simplecast. They bought Pandora. And I want to say they bought somebody else too. It's all owned by like Liberty Media. No, well. Who owns CNN now. And I mean that guy John Malone, he's been buying I don't even know which asset you'd call it, like media assets, I guess.
They want to control everything.
Well, he's not your normal lefty though. He's more on the.
So he's more like your classical liberal.
I don't even know if he's that far left. I think he's old school kind of Republican. I think. I don't know. I don't know the guy well enough. Kind of looks like Mr. Burns a little bit, though.
Excellent.
We are gonna drink a little bit of bourbon tonight, or whiskey. For all of you that know the difference, don't freaking roast me, please, because I don't know the difference. Other than I guess it's supposed to be like 51% corn mash or wheat. It's supposed to be like 51% of something. And it has to be made in Kentucky.
I know, yeah, and people that do know it and care about it will immediately let you know.
Oh yes,
if you screw it up.
Like if Chris Sean or Jared were here, I would have just gotten slapped on the wrist.
Yeah.
But I think it's about time. Like we've got the name beers in our podcast. When we've reviewed beers, we don't review beers like some of the. I'm going to throw it out there, like the hipsters,
yeah,
right? That are like crafting their own brews in the basement, and they do podcasts specifically about like craft brews,
yeah.
And Miller Lite is beneath them, right?
Right.
Anyone who's listened to our beer episodes, semi-annual beer episodes, know that we do not poo-poo the Miller Lite.
No.
In fact, some of us during the show prefer it.
Yeah.
Now, again. I love Ty to death. He does. He's probably the one beer snob that won't poo-poo a Miller Lite. You can give him a Miller Lite, he'll drink one, and then he's done with it.
Yeah.
He's very much like me with the craft beer. You give me one, I'll drink it, I'm done with it. Where it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Now, you give Josh a craft brew.
He chokes it down.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to waste it. Like, he's a beer purist where, like, he thinks, like, the god of beer will smite him down even if he pours out the backwash.
Right.
So he'll drink it, and then he'll whip out the Coors Light out of his back pocket and make sure the mountains are still blue. All right?
Yeah.
So we do not review alcohol, beer, whiskey like your normal YouTube channel or podcast. We are not the aficionados. So if you were just starting to get into whiskey like we are, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos, mostly YouTube videos, because that's where I do all my research for this show. So it's really factual when you get it off of YouTube. I know it's 100% real and factual. Whenever I watch those, it's like two dudes in front of a camera. And the first thing they always do, they have this little tiny glass, and the first thing, they swish it in the cup. Mm-hmm. They're seeing how well it coats. Like, they're wine guys, right? Seeing how well it coats the glass.
Yeah.
And then they sniff it. Like, it all doesn't smell like alcohol. Oh, I smell the wheat.
Oh, this is oaky.
Yeah, oaky. They say oaky.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting a little bit of leather smell. You getting leather smell?
Right.
What kind of nose? Like, I don't have any kind of refined nose like that.
Testing a couch.
Like, seriously, we pour ourselves some whiskey. I smell it. It smells like alcohol. It smells like every other alcoholic drink I've had in my life. I don't smell oak. Sorry. Right. I don't smell vanilla.
Well, it's like the Scotch guys with the mossy and all that stuff.
Jesus. I don't understand it. Like, I'm literally like got I got a huge schnoz. I got it halfway into this cup and I don't smell it. I smell alcohol. I smell alcohol. I smell the main ingredient. But anyway, but here's the thing. That doesn't mean we're not going to try some good stuff. Now, look, anyone who listened to our After Dark episode, which was a joke, by the way, it wasn't really after. We always record this after dark, for crying out loud.
We just pressed pause and started again.
Literally, that's what we did. Because we were already an hour plus in, and we didn't think we could make a 3-hour episode. Yeah. So we literally just hit the pause button and pressed it again, made a second episode out of it. And that was the After Dark one. For anyone who thought we were sophisticated by coming out with an After Dark episode, no, come on now.
Yeah, don't give us that much credit.
Yeah. But I do like to try different things, all right? We are not going to give the sniff test. I'm going to drink it. I'm going to put it in my mouth. I'm going to see what doesn't burn. Because I'm new to this. I'm not a big fan of alcohol drinking to begin with. Drinking liquor versus beer. Beer doesn't sting your mouth.
Right.
Beer can be enjoyable going down. Mm-hmm. It can have nice taste going down.
You could be hot and sweaty after mowing the lawn and drink a beer and get some relief.
Exactly.
You're not going to come in and drink some whiskey.
No.
Anything.
This is after you've, your body temperature's gone back down to normal.
Yeah.
And you're about to go to bed. You're gonna pop one back a little bit. And here's another thing though. And this is one of the major differences for me. Is that the old 3-finger measure? Basically, you put it up to the cup, you pour yourself up to your third finger, and that's a drink. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's with ice. I do it on the rocks, as the fancy people say.
You don't do it neat?
I do not do it neat. No, not yet. Now, people say you eventually work your way there, but I am not there.
I try it neat first, generally. Or if there's ice in the cup already, like there is here, I won't let the water melt into it.
Sure.
So I'll get kind of the flavor as close to neat as it can be without being technically neat.
Sure. So, on our After Dark episode, we tried one called American Honey by Wild Turkey. Now, for any of the whiskey purists out there, they're yelling at the radio because to them it's a liqueur. It is not a whiskey because it's literally like drinking honey. Mm-hmm. It is delicious. Like when we bought in this, I think I had 3 bottles. One was Knob Creek 9, one was American Honey, and then one was I forget what it was. But anyway, the American Honey went right away. Like, it went within the first month. I still have the Knob Creek. The Knob Creek is still 3/4 full. Mm-hmm. It's right in front of me. That's how I know. I bought I guess they call it a handle of American Honey. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, the big one.
The 1.75 liter version. That's half gone. All right. Now, the best part about it is if you're new to whiskey, that is one of the easiest whiskeys to get in on, especially if you don't like the alcohol burn. If you're not an alcohol guy, I'm not an alcohol guy. I don't like taking shots. No, I don't think it tastes good. No, I don't think it's. I'm not down. For me, if you're doing shots, you're there to get hammered.
Yeah,
and quick.
I don't do shots. That shots to me, that's like college young man stuff. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Like, I just won't. And people buy me a shot. I'm like,
right.
You just wasted your money. You might as well drink it yourself or pour it out or give it to some girl.
Josh likes to do this shot before Ravens games.
So I will drink the Ravens blood.
So I won't.
But that's just for good luck.
And he almost wanted to die when I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I wouldn't touch it. So he drank mine because he was afraid that drink not being drank
was going to somehow affect
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how much you normally will not drink liquor.
Mm-hmm. And it's just Goldschlager with purple food coloring.
Yes.
And it's awful.
So, in my infinite wisdom, I jumped on your bandwagon when you said you were going to start taking up whiskey because the calories in beer were adding up.
Yeah, and I did it right after Halloween.
Right.
When we did the neighborhood movie night. And rather than just sitting there pounding beer, I drank now it was a healthy pour of bourbon, and I was good to go. Like, that's all I had, so...
But even a healthy pour of bourbon, if that lasts you the whole night, and you're not banged up the next day,
yeah.
But you still had your
caught a little buzz.
Yeah, you still had a little something going on.
Yeah,
and you didn't feel bloated because you didn't have 10 beers, and the carbonated drink didn't sit in your stomach and make you feel awful.
Yep.
Because look, as we get older, our stomachs get worse, right? So those 12 beers or 10 beers we used to be able to drink when we were younger. Now it sits in your stomach and you feel like you're just going to be sick.
Yeah.
And not in like a throw up kind of way, in a bloated kind of way. Like, oh, I can't move. It hurts so much. That kind of thing. This is different. Look, I can get my 3 to 4 fingers in. Mm-hmm. It's going to take me an hour. Probably, maybe 45 minutes to drink it because I'm sipping it.
Yeah.
And I'll feel all right in the morning. My stomach's really not going to hurt me. I thought I would actually have more acid reflux with it. Surprisingly, not so much.
So Scotch gives me bad reflux.
Okay, I haven't had Scotch yet.
So my father-in-law is a Scotch guy. He likes, he'll have like Walker Green, Walker Blue, so like the real high end, and it's good, but it really just the reflux comes at me like just on all 8 cylinders. It's coming. So
no. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bourbon doesn't really do it that bad unless I drink a lot of it.
Okay.
Cheaper stuff does to an extent. But the other nice thing about, which I think people sometimes forget about, when you're drinking liquor, bourbon, or whiskey or whatever it is, you're not getting up to pee 8,000 times.
That is true.
Because beer is mostly water. Yeah. So you start pounding beers back, especially the lighter beers, or any beer for me.
Yeah.
Like, they see, like, it's just you're peeing constantly. But liquor, because you're not drinking as much of it, it doesn't make me pee 15 times.
Yeah, that's a hidden benefit right there. Now, we're trying out well, because I do a lot of research on YouTube about whiskeys that I like or that I think I'll like. So I usually search whiskey for beginners. And what that usually turns into being is low proof whiskeys, because low proof whiskeys tend to burn less. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted it to be something I could ease myself into. So we tried the Knob Creek 9. Now the Knob Creek 9 was 100 proof. That's not a low proof whiskey. Mm-hmm. I believe they consider 100 proof like barrel strength.
Okay.
And again, the whiskey people out there are gonna fucking slap my hand. But anyway, so I was looking for whiskeys in that 80 to 90 range. All right. So that's where I found American Honey. Mm-hmm. Now, American Honey, I think, would probably be in the 70s proof-ish. But each YouTube video that I watched, I would say almost 90% of them were recommending the one we're trying right now. Mm-hmm. And it's Old Forester 86. I'm not going to lie. In my opinion, it lives up to the hype.
So I thought it was really good. So
it's very, very low burn. Mm-hmm. Like you put it in your mouth, you can leave it in there for a minute. You're not breathing fire.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say is, and because I haven't really drank too much of the 100 proof ones, I've heard that the 80 to 90 proof whiskeys are basically watered down versions of the 100 proof. And with this one, I can kind of taste that. It doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. Mm-hmm. It's got it kind of tastes like alcohol and water. Like it tastes like literally someone poured some water in this.
Right.
And it doesn't help that we put ice in it, so that waters it down a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So that could be affecting the amount of flavor. And when I say flavor, like I'm trying to. It's kind of like the difference between, Miller Lite and Miller. With Miller, you're getting a little bit more just flavor out of it rather than it being a watered down beer, right? So in this case, I definitely feel like it's kind of a watered down whiskey. So I wouldn't mind trying. And the next one they tell you to try, I believe, is a 96 proof.
Okay.
So it's like the next level up. But I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well go for the 100. But anyway,
yeah.
So I because it has such a low level of burn to it, I'll be real interested in trying the next level higher. Now, the other thing with this though, this is just a regular size bottle. So this is 750 milliliters. It is about $35 for the bottle.
Okay.
Now that's probably on my higher end for the 750 milliliter. Mm-hmm. But it's something like I could have two of them and not feel like I was just sitting there with a burning mouth the whole night.
Yeah. So this, I'm just looking at the bullet, and it's 90 proof.
Okay.
So that's
actually going to be between the Knob Creek 9 is in front of us. Mm-hmm. That's 100 proof, and the bullet's 90.
Yeah.
So we have an 86, a 90, and a 100.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what the flavor is on them. And I don't mean flavor profile. I mean, like, when you drink a bourbon, there's definitely, like, I don't want to sound like that asshole, but there's definitely, like, a flavor, like a caramel flavoring. I don't know what it is, but there's a flavor to it.
Yeah.
I'm not, and some of them taste like cinnamon, and they call those spicy.
Okay.
And that's a little bit more bite on the tongue. Mm-hmm. A little bit more burn on the tongue. Not so much going down, but on the tongue.
Yeah. And
I'm not a fan of those. I like the smoother taste, like I guess the caramelly taste. Like it's not sugar. It's just it's got a flavor to it that more than this. But I do, so basically between the 86 and the 100, I think I'd probably like the 90 because it's probably be right in the middle.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong though, I like the 86.
No,
I'm not saying it's bad.
I thought that 86 was good. In fact, I finished it. So it's gone. That's how much I liked it. But
it's a very easy to drink whiskey.
yeah.
In fact, right there, like when I just took that last sip, I do get some sweetness out of it. Mm-hmm. I just wish it had more of that sweetness with it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Would I want more burn with the sweetness though? Probably not. So I'm hoping for that medium of same level of burn, more sweetness, but not honey. Yeah. I'm not talking about American honey.
See, I'm a little different because I don't like that that whatever American honey stuff that you had. It was sweet. It was good.
Yeah.
But I can only do, like, it's too sweet for me.
Oh yeah.
I could drink like one of those, a small, almost like in a cordial glass,
Yep.
you know, and that I'm done because it's too much sweet for me. I need to take it back on the sweet scale.
I mean, it's literally like you're heating up honey and like slapping on like a Werther's original in it.
Yeah.
That's how sweet it is. But I mean, like, I think someone else makes like a Tennessee honey. Like, there's like a honey category.
There
for
are,
whiskeys.
and then like I think Crown Royal has a honey version.
Yeah.
Well, one does it. They all do it. Mm-hmm. So
that's the first one we've had tonight. We'll talk about others as we go along, but we got some other stuff we want to talk about. Obviously, I'm on the car hunt still. I'm getting closer, I think. There was one up in Pennsylvania that I had showed you. The paintwork on it was just gone, though. Mm-hmm. One thing I know, like, mechanical work versus body work on a car. The body work is so much more expensive. I mean, just to respray a car, you're talking about $5,000. Mm-hmm. You can replace a transmission for $1,500.
Shit, you do engine and transmission for less than it is to respray a car.
Yeah,
you could do it. So on a truck like that, buying used parts with a mechanic who you can work with, you could replace your entire drivetrain for less than it would cost to respray it and clear coat it and do all that. So you're talking engine, transmission, differential, and then the front differential for your 4-wheel drive. The entire drivetrain is cheaper to replace than it is for body work.
Right.
And the other thing is, it's funny because mechanical work doesn't negatively affect the value of your car.
Yeah.
But body work, if it pops on a Carfax report, it's gonna hit your value of your car.
It doesn't have to be body work though. Like when you go to sell your car, if you've got a guy who knows what he's doing, he's got this gun thing, and it measures the thickness of the paint. And if it doesn't fall within the factory spec, they're assuming you did body work.
Right.
And I didn't know that until I went and sold an old Equinox that I had. Not the one I have now, but I had a 2010 that I got rid of. And he was pointing this gun all over the place. I'm like, what is that thing? Oh, he goes, it measures the thickness of the paint. So I could see, because he was gunning the back hatch. Now, when I bought it, it was a one owner, no accidents. He goes, did you do any body work? I was like, no, I didn't do anything. And the Carfax was clean when I got it. He goes, because there's a big difference with the paint on this thing. And I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't know about it because the guy thought I was lying about the car.
Yeah.
He ended up buying it anyway. So maybe he's just trying to talk me down on the price a little bit. But
he's probably using a thermometer.
Right. I know, right?
Probably one of those like I do for my sear temps, like surface scans through thermometers.
He probably was. To be honest with you, I'm probably that sucker that believed him.
Oh,
because
you do flux capacitor too while you're at it.
But yeah, no, the body work. I mean, I can. So for example, on this latest one I sent you, it was a 2006 Yukon Denali, 123,000 miles. It's down in Georgia. So I'd be buying it sight unseen. The guy's done really good video walkarounds for me. So I've been in contact with the guy. He's been what I think is very upfront.
Yeah.
They want $10,500 for it. They just lowered the price by $1,000, been on their lot for 30 days. It's got one little rust spot above the rear fender or the rear wheel well, just a little bit, nothing big. It's got some paint clear coat fade on a point on the roof and like going down the side on the passenger side doors where it kind of has that little lip. Oddly enough, not on the hood, so I'm wondering if the hood got resprayed at some point. But and the only other thing that isn't great about it are the two front seats. They're ripped not that they're like clawed out, but they've definitely had some wear and tear on them.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, it would cost me way more to do correcting the paint than it would to replace the front seats.
Okay.
Like have someone go and reupholster them.
Yeah.
With new stuffing and everything. To do new stuffing and new leather on the front seats, I think it's like $300 a seat. To repaint and do some of the that rust work on that, I'm probably looking at $1,500.
Wow.
And that's for a not a good job.
Right.
We're not talking respray the whole car. We're talking correct that portion of it. No body work other than the rust spot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, these guys want $10,500 for this thing. For an 06, no, mind you, all right? The only reason why I'm considering it is because it's got the nice wheels on it. It's red, so it's not that GMC brown.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's not beat up on the inside. It looks all right. I just can't see myself paying $10,500 for it.
Yeah, that's especially for something that's almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
Now the cool thing is, once you hit 20, you have to put historic tags on it.
Yeah.
So,
and
screw you emissions.
Well, the other thing that was kind of strange about it was, and the guy sent a video of the engine because I thought I heard like a whistle or whine or something. There was a little plume of smoke that came out of the front. Nothing big, just it went away. But my mechanic saw it. So I sent the videos to my mechanic, and he said it looks like it came from where the power steering pump is.
Okay.
And so I asked him how much to replace the power steering pump. It's probably only like $400 or $500. It's not that expensive. So it's not really. It doesn't scare me away from it. The problem is, okay, so now I probably got about $600 in the front seats. I probably got another $1,500 for paint correction. So now I'm pretty much $2,000 in right there.
Yeah.
If I got to do the power steering pump, now I'm $2,600. And if there's anything else that I don't find, yeah. So my $10,000 supposedly cheap vehicle is now creeping up in the 13, 14, 15 range, where I could probably just pay 13, 14, 15 and get a perfect one.
Yeah.
If it existed, right? So I kept looking around. Now I'm not writing that one off because the guy said, "Look, you should get a pre-purchase inspection." So I mean, he's telling me to get one.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's telling me to either go to Firestone or BF Goodrich down by him. Now, I don't know if his cousin works at one of those down the road.
Oh yeah, great shape.
So I'm down. So now I'm on Google Maps looking for another independent shop where he can drop it off at, which may also have his other cousin Daryl, right? I don't know how many of his friends work around the area. I'm sure they all know each other.
Yeah.
Car community's small, whether it's a repair shop or sales shop, they know who each other are. And what's to stop them from saying, "Well, I'm going to sell Derek a car here. I'm going to tell him there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell this Yankee there's nothing wrong with it."
Right.
So I'm nervous about getting it, but I haven't seen another one that looks like this with the nice wheels and the great color and the whole thing mechanically. They're not generally rough to fix as far as costs go. My mechanic did say look for rusted out brake lines because that job costs $1,500 to do that. He goes, that's probably the biggest expense you're going to come into. He goes, there might be an ABS module that needs to be replaced or something like that. But he goes, look, those are all fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, and the thing with them, I know. So it's the same on the Silverado. Pretty much all the light duty trucks, the vehicle speed sensor, ABS module is all contained within a sealed unit That's the hub bearing. And it's really not that hard to swap out. I did it on an Envoy that I owned. And they're notorious for failing on Envoys, Blazer, or Envoy, Trailblazer, Silverado, Suburban, Yukon, all of them. So once you swap that, it's a straightforward job. It's not hard to do.
Right.
You're looking probably $300 in parts, and if I can do it the driveway. So mechanical, for them, it's no different than changing brakes out.
Right.
It's just one layer down. So
yeah, so I'm probably gonna call around down there tomorrow. Let them know, hey, look, I want you to check the brake lines. I want you to check that. I'll send them the video. Say, look, I want you to check out this smoking thing. Everything else is visual. I can see what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's another one out in Virginia. Now, I wouldn't be able to drive out and look at this one either because it's like out by Luray.
Okay.
It's like a 3-hour ride.
Yeah.
Probably not making that. Because then I wouldn't be able to drive it home anyway because I got to drive the car I drove out there with.
Yeah.
I
would have a dolly from U-Haul and tow your car back with the.
I could, but
it'll handle it.
Right. So that one though is an 06 Tahoe LT.
Okay.
It looks like it has the same interior options. It's got the steering wheel controls. It's got the sunroof. It's got the leather interior. It's 4-wheel drive, just like the other one. It's also red.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 20,000 less miles, though. So
Okay.
It's got 98,000 miles on it.
Oh, wow, that's a baby.
It's got no Carfax history, though.
Oh.
Like I looked at it. It's literally just, it's from New York. It's a New York car.
It doesn't even say it got revinned or anything? Or
Yeah.
No, like, it doesn't say, like...
Inspection. It basically just goes through when it got inspected and titled.
How
Inspected.
long ago?
In New York, I think it's every year. So every
Yeah.
year was getting the New York State inspection. But the New York State inspection isn't crap. It's like Virginia's.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland's is tough,
But they only do it once.
and they only do it once.
Yeah.
But you got to pass it in order to get it on the road.
Yeah.
And there's incentive for shops to spot things because they think that you're going to go to them to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying they all do it. I'm not saying, but some do.
Yeah.
But 98,000 miles. But it doesn't have the Denali exterior package. And I love the way that Denali looks.
Mm-hmm.
With the wheels and,
Oh, yeah.
and the body cladding. Look,
Yeah.
look, and I know that's a dumb reason.
Because from inside, you can't tell.
Correct. But when I'm looking at it from outside my window.
Yeah.
When
When
it's
you're walking up to it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like you do that little glance over your shoulder when you're walking away from it.
I have a little moment with it, right? But I've always been that way with cars. Like I like the looks of certain, even if it's the same. There's a little bit different mechanically. I mean, the Yukon's got a 6-liter engine versus the 5.3, but they're both V8s. They're both Vortec engines.
Yeah.
Same transmission. I mean, it's all basically the same. To me, the Yukon just looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Like I walk up to him like, damn, that's a nice looking car.
Well, GM's also the upmarket, vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, but I look at an Escalade and I don't look at it going, damn, that's a nice looking Escalade.
No.
Now I'm probably in the minority with that, but
Especially in that vintage.
it just looked too boxy for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the interiors with the wood steering wheels, no, that looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, like the exteriors, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That GMC, the Denali version of it just looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's got the little side tailpipe coming out. I mean, now here's the smart play, though, is if that Tahoe doesn't have rust underneath, would be to get the Tahoe.
Yeah.
Because it's got a little faded paint on the hood, but it's a lot cheaper to get a hood resprayed than it is to do touch-up in different places on panels that can't be removed. Mm-hmm. Right? They could take the hood off.
Put it in the booth and spray it.
And maybe even if you had to give it a quick wet sand.
Mm-hmm.
And just you literally just undo 4 bolts, put it in the paint booth, give it spray, clear coat, put it back on,
Yeah.
you're done. It's a lot quicker than doing a quarter panel with rust on it.
Yeah.
That you can't take off. You got to do it on the vehicle. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more taping. Like with a hood, there's no taping.
Yeah.
You just hang it and spray it.
Yep.
So, is it smarter for me to go with the Tahoe? Now, don't get me, they're asking $500 more for the Tahoe.
Right.
Now, if I could get the Yukon for $9,000, now keep in mind, I'm going to have to pay $400 for them to ship it. I'm going to have to pay Maryland state sales tax, which is 6%. So you're looking at, if you buy it for $9,000, let's see, 10% is $900. Half of that's $450. So I'm going to pay roughly $500 for sales tax. Another $200 for title and registration. So I'm now looking at $9,700 plus $9,700 plus $4, $10,100 for, and that's if I can get them down to $9,000 from $10,500. Now these other guys in Virginia still probably going to cost me $400 to ship it to me.
Yeah.
If I'm too lazy to go out there and get it, they're asking almost $11,000 for theirs. Now, everyone's saying the car market's going to, the bottom's going to drop out of it. So do I just wait?
Yeah.
Again? I mean, how long have I been waiting, though, for the bottom to drop out of this?
Well, and it's also, you wait for the bottom to drop out, but then, with inflation driving the cost of everything else up anyway. So, yeah, the bottom dropped out, but you're not going to notice any difference.
Well, and the other thing is, so I looked on Facebook Marketplace for these things. Private parties are generally selling these things with 170 to 225,000 miles on them. Mm-hmm. Now, they only want 6.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot of miles. Mm-hmm. I feel a lot better buying one with 123. It's just I don't want to pay $10,500 for it.
Yeah.
Especially if there's possible issues. Now, if this thing was clean as a whistle, didn't have the paint issues, didn't have anything, I'd pay $10,500 in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And the other one with the Tahoe, the other thing with the Tahoe is this: I don't have the seats are in good condition. Wouldn't have to do the interior. Mm-hmm. But they want 11.
Yeah.
So could I get them down to 10? I mean, that's the biggest thing there. Now, which one would you take though? $9,000 for the Denali that probably needs a little work, or $10,000 for the Tahoe that might need a lot less work.
Yeah, that.
And keep in mind what it's for. It's a third car, and I'm getting it because I need a third row. And minivans are too damn expensive.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Well, I looked up Honda Odysseys.
Speaking of minivans, don't let me forget.
Okay.
If I were you, I would go with the Yukon. You like it better when you really start splitting hairs at 123K versus 98. It's really at that point it's psychological.
Right.
Essentially one has 20% more miles on it than the other one.
Right.
So
especially on engines that can run over 300,000 to 400,000 miles.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah. And the thing is you don't know that Tahoe yet.
Correct.
Now it is a little bit closer physically. Yep. But a 3-hour trip, if you were to drive out there and buy that thing, I mean, you're looking at, that's a whole day.
Oh, yeah, it's 6 hours in a car.
Yeah. And it's not just like, hey, can you run me up to Glen Burnie?
No.
Like, I'd probably help you out, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, do I really want to do that?
Because you got to kill a whole day, too.
Yeah.
Like, you got to, I mean.
Actually, you know what you do with that?
What?
Well, no, you can't flat tow it. I was going to say you take the RV out there and you just flat tow it back.
So here's the thing, you can, but it's not ready.
Right.
Like it hasn't been prepped for it.
Yeah.
Now you could, I wonder if you could dolly it.
I'm sure.
Because you basically just rent the dolly.
Yeah.
And then tow it back. I mean, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Because you got to make sure that whoever goes with you, like they're, like a basketball game at noon throws that whole thing off.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a play hooky from work type of deal right there.
Well, and you're also hoping that the person that you're going with is okay if you don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thanks for the 6. Well, probably you're probably going to be there at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
If you decide to buy it. Hey, thanks for killing an eight hours with me, and I didn't go buy it.
Like, you're buying lunch.
Buying more than lunch. You literally, someone took off work so you could make them work. That's 8 hours still. I mean, now granted, you don't got kids in your ears, but whatever. No, but that's a tough ask. And to be honest with you, if I'm willing to buy a car sight unseen from Georgia, I should be willing to buy a car sight unseen from Virginia.
Right.
And here's the big question: if they could ship it to you for $400, is that worth your 8 hours?
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah, probably. It probably is. Like, not that I have that high of
would
an
you
hourly
pay?
rate.
Would you pay $400 to fly somewhere to avoid an 8-hour drive?
Oh yeah, probably.
You know,
and I hate flying.
Yeah.
So if I could, if I could fly for $400, and what's 8 hours? I mean, think about it. To get to Boston.
Boston's an 8-hour one-way trip.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. What's 3 hours away? New York City.
Yeah, Newark.
But there and back, it's about an hour flight.
Yeah.
Well, 45 minutes from us.
Yeah.
So you're there and back travel time, instead of it being 6 hours in a drive, it's under 2 hours. It's an hour and a half in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably. You're only paying like $200.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, would you pay $400? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. If it's just me, now, if I have to get all the kids and everything up there, now I'm looking at $2,000. I'm not doing that.
No.
But if it's just me going up, I used to do it all the time when she'd be up there, and I'd have to work, and then I'd meet her up there.
Yeah.
I'd fly Southwest one way.
Well, the other thing is, if I go and look at this thing, what am I going to do? It's not like I'm looking at it and being like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's the air compressor. I know the air conditioning shot because I'm looking at it. Right. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Right.
I mean, I my ears can tell me something, and my eyes could be like, oh, maybe it's a little off.
Yeah, there's blue smoke coming out of the tailpipe.
But my mechanic can literally do that through the video, and he did.
Yeah.
Like, that's the advantage of having a good mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if it's a matter of the $400 to get it shipped here, if I'm willing for $400 to get it shipped from Georgia, I'll pay $400 to get it shipped from middle of Virginia. Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to see these things anyway.
Yeah.
And I know some people are yelling like, "Oh man, you should never not go see a car before you buy it." Why? Do you know how many
average
people?
Yahoo has no idea what they're looking at.
Right.
And here's the thing. I know cars pretty well. Like, I work on my own cars. But still, when I get, like, you know, unless it's really, really obvious, I'm not really seeing it either.
Right.
You know, so I couldn't, tell you what. Now, if you drive it and it's making a noise, or it's pulling real bad, or it smells like butthole, like, that would be my only concern. It shows up and it smells like a butthole.
Yeah. If it smells like a smoker.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to assume. No, I probably shouldn't assume. I'm sure, like, before I bought it, I'd be like, look, man, does it smell like someone smoked like a chimney in there?
Yeah.
And I don't mean like you covered it up with some spray.
Right.
Like, did someone smoke in it? Like, Headliner smells like smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to get here and I have to do a full steam clean on the thing.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I know a lot of car dealers, if a car smells like smoke, they have car dealers out there that can get rid of the smell.
Yeah.
So I've never really bought a used car and had just reek of smoke anymore.
No,
I think those days are in the past.
Yeah. And people don't smoke the way they used to.
True.
It used to be every car you got.
Right.
Someone smoked in it. But, I don't know. So, speaking of minivans,
yes.
I want to forget. Did you see that Kia, so the Kia Carnival, or Carnival, or whatever the hell they're calling it, that thing's hot, all right?
Right.
I'm a minivan guy.
Yep.
But they're now offering the Kia Carnival with a 4th row option. So it brings its seating capacity to 11. And I'm just looking at that thing like, wow, 11 people. Now, would I ever use the 4th row? Probably not. But just to know it was there, that you could take an entire football team somewhere.
Where would they put it though? Is it? Do they do an extended wheelbase for it?
So I'm not sure how they do it, but when you look at the view, it's got the captain's chairs in front.
Yeah.
Well, for the driver and passenger. Then the next row, it's the captain's chairs. It has that like little middle row booster.
Yeah.
And then same with the third row, and then the fourth row looks like something you'd find in a small SUV. Like think of a 7-passenger Rogue.
Sure.
So it's not meant for like adults,
right?
But like our kids could all fit back there just fine.
If you were going to do that though, why wouldn't you look at a 9-passenger Savannah?
A lot of people aren't there. Here's the other thing with Savannah. Savannah is a big, heavy rear-wheel drive vehicle.
Oh yeah.
So there are people that don't like the way that feels. They want their minivan.
Right.
And when they designed the original minivan, the OG, the Plymouth Voyager Dodge Caravan, what was appealing is it was essentially a K car, because that Chrysler everything was a K body. So you had and it was based upon the Dodge Omni chassis. It was a front wheel drive platform. People liked the minivans because it drove like a car.
Right.
But it had a whole bunch of room in it. And that's what still. So the Odysseys, the Accord, the Siennas, the Camry, GM doesn't have one. Chrysler.
Had the Montana.
No, they stopped making all minivans.
Right. No, I know. I meant they used to.
Oh, yeah, back in the day. Well, they had the Silhouette. The Silhouette,
the
Lumina, and
Montana.
Transport.
Wasn't the Pontiac Montana?
It became the Montana. Okay. So GM went through this weird phase in the late 2000s, early 2010s, where they tried to make all their minivans look like SUVs. So they just took, those Nissan NV 2000s, NV 2500s, the big ones, where essentially it's a Titan with a big van body on the back.
Yep.
That's what these things look like. It was a minivan that had like an extended snout. It looked stupid. But when GM did that, they used but prior to that, it was they all looked like the vacuum cleaners, the spaceships.
Yeah.
And I thought this Chevy Lumina was the coolest looking thing. And it had the chairs in the back, the individual seats that you could arrange however you wanted to.
Right.
As a kid, you're like, yeah, this is cool. Mom and Dad, get one. So, yeah, that was all the rage then. But if you're thinking of Savannah versus a Carnival,
it's a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was looking at Savannahs for a while.
Yeah.
Because I had a conversion van kick going.
But also to get a Savannah, like, do they offer? I'm not talking a second stage manufacturer, like one of the conversion
Explorer, Southern Cover, one of those. Yeah.
Does GM offer the Savannah with leather seats, with a TV screen, the multi-zone climate control, all the cup holders, all the stuff, or is it set up more like a 15-passenger airport shuttle van?
I think that's what they're probably set up as.
Yeah. So there's no trim package that.
No.
And I'm talking from GM. I'm not talking from.
Right, not from Explorer.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I don't know. I really haven't looked.
Yeah.
I thought all non-high tops were just Savannahs straight off the lot.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, how many of those do you actually ever see, right? You think
unless they're HVAC companies, and even then, you're seeing more. You see a ton of Sprinters.
4 Transits.
Transit.
And the Nissan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't really see too many GMs anymore like that.
And Dodge, Dodge went all the way over to that Sprinter.
That's Sprinter, no.
Yeah.
Well, although Mercedes is a Sprinter. I mean, I want to say there's got to be, I think there's crossover still there.
Yeah. Freightliner also makes one too.
Freightliner's Ford, isn't it?
I'm not sure who they are.
I think they are. I think, Ford used to own Freightliner.
Yeah.
But not anymore. So I'm hoping, I just want this to be done at this point. Because one, I would really like a 3-row vehicle. I could have used it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got to take 3 girls on Monday to their events, right? So right now I'm squeezing them in the back of a Equinox.
At least they're little.
They're little right now.
Yeah.
But they're not staying little.
Can your oldest sit in the front?
No, not really. She's not tall enough.
Yeah, my oldest sit. My oldest and middle both sit, but my middle's thick and tall, and my oldest is tall.
Here's the thing: if I was going to the school and back, sure,
Yeah.
I'd let her sit in the front. Anything longer than that, nah, I gotta put her in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So
I only have one kid in a booster anymore, so
I still have one because
Yeah.
she's not heavy enough yet.
yeah.
As much as she eats, you'd figure she would be, but she ain't. Not, she puts it somewhere. I don't know where it's going.
Well, my middle weighs over 100 pounds, and my middle and your youngest are the same age. So,
Right. But yeah, I would like the third row at this point, and not only for that. Like if I go, let's say I go down to my brother's, which is like an hour away, and I'm throwing my mom in the car now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I either got to put my wife or my mother back there with two kids.
yeah,
Okay. Whereas if I had a third row, I could throw a kid in the back.
yeah,
Sitting comfortably. So for convenience, like it was always gonna be a third car. That's why my goal was to get it under 10 grand. Mm-hmm. Sorted though, like completely done.
Yeah.
Not 10 grand, and I need to put work into it.
yeah,
That being said, though, let's say I got it up here for 10-1, and I still had to put $1,500 worth of work into it, or let's say I'm into it for 12-3 sorted. Mm-hmm. Is that really that bad for one of those things? Especially with 123,000 miles, things gonna last forever. Especially if the brake lines are done.
yeah.
Or I can keep an eye on the brake lines. I'll make sure the mechanic keeps looking for it, and I mean, yes, it's old. I get that. But they have a very good longevity.
But there's a certain charm to old, and I'm starting maybe so like the cars with all the tech and the EVs, and first of all, I'm like I don't want to say I'm anti-EV. Buy what you want, but every manufacturer's scrambling to come out with their EVs.
Right.
And like, what's the Cadillac one now? The Lyric.
Something like that.
Stupid, it's spelled wrong. It's dumb. Hyundai has a bunch of them. They don't do anything for me. And the tech that's in them, like I used to go to the auto show when I was a kid. My dad would take me. It was pretty cheap to go. Like Giant always had the discount tickets to go, and we'd ride the train in. The auto show always used to be between Christmas and New Year's, and they made it later to make it more relevant. So we go to the auto show in DC, check it, and I remember going, and everything was about performance, like engines, horsepower, or comfort features inside the vehicle. Now it's all they're just showcasing tech.
Right.
Well, I'm not into cell phones. I'm not into iPads. I'm not a technophile. I appreciate it when it works.
Yep.
But I don't care what kind of, like, my Sienna has in-dash navigation. I use Waze.
Right.
I don't even use it. It's like the backup system. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't do anything for me. So when you go and now the cars, for the most part, they all look the same. The EVs all look dumb. Like the Mercedes, their E version of the S-Class, it's a pig. You got to take a beautiful classic. The S-Class is like a standard, right?
Right.
It's been like the benchmark for that class of vehicle forever, and you're gonna make the EV version of it, and it looks stupid. Like they have to show that it's electric because all the people, like, God forbid you just have a regular looking car with a battery skateboard and go from there.
Right.
But no, they have to make it so you can let everyone else know, so you can virtue signal how green you are with your freaking $100,000 imported German luxury sedan.
I think it's probably closer to 150.
Yeah. So,
meanwhile, you know what the best Mercedes S-Class was to me? 2006.
Love it.
That thing was gorgeous.
Yeah. So my buddy moved to Tampa. He bought one. I was looking at one. Did he buy it? I forget what he told me.
And bulletproof engines.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the V8, I think it was the S500.
Yeah.
They had an AMG version. Mm-hmm.
They put a 12-cylinder engine in
there. Yeah, it was an S600.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it was there was an AMG version, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
So they had the S430, the S500, the S600, which was the 12 the 12 cylinder engine, and then they had the AMG version.
Yeah.
The S500 was my favorite.
Yeah.
But if you got the S430, it was still a beautiful looking car. It was beautiful on the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it drove like a large luxury sedan.
Yeah.
Like you were cruising in style, and oh, by the way, your car had some balls to it. A little bit. But it remembered what it was.
Yeah.
A nice luxury cruiser.
But that's what all those old cars were.
Yeah.
Like the Cadillacs and the Lincolns and that they had big, powerful engines. They could scoot if they had to.
Yep.
But mainly it was so that it would accelerate, and you weren't just getting trashed by engine noise and wah, and like all the No, it was like it's going, you feel it moving, but it's like almost like all of a sudden you just feel the car press you in the back. That was it.
Yeah.
You're not just getting, inundated with this cacophony of sound and noises and vibrations.
Well, and another reason why I've been leaning toward an 06 of this sort. One, GM went to cylinder deactivation, or they call it AFM, active fuel management, once 07 came around, which has been known to create issues in those engines. But even if you go further down the line, like you talked about more tech, it's more screens. Everything is now more dependent on electronics.
Yeah.
If they break, they cost a ton to fix. And these cars only have 3 years and 36,000 mile warranties on them.
Yeah.
And nothing ever breaks in those first 3 years, 36,000. But once you hit year 4, it's like the day at 36,000 1 mile.
Yeah.
Something breaks. And it's not mechanical. If something breaks on this 06 Yukon, like my mechanic said, the most anything is going to cost, and if it's those rusty brake lines, he says you're looking at $1,500. That's going to be your biggie. He goes, the engines are generally rock solid. You're not going to see much of a problem with those. He goes, transmissions can fail on them, but again, they're generally okay as long as if you're not dogging it out, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't meant to be dogged out. It's a four speed transmission.
Overdrive.
Yeah.
It was the 460 LE, I think is
something like that. And he goes, but let's say you had to replace it. You can get a used or remanufactured one for about $700-800. And he goes, it costs about $500 to $600 in labor. He goes, so for about $1,300 to $1,400, you've replaced your transmission and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a lot of money, but when you figure, okay, now you still have a brand new car basically, as opposed to having to swap out a computer system for $3,000 to $5,000. I mean, think about it. Some of these. I mean, if you have a Chevy Bolt with all the electronics in that thing, and one of the electronic modules go, and it costs you $3,000 to fix it on a Chevy Bolt, you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
because the thing's no bigger than your dining room table. Right. So if I've got this big boat of a car, and well, you only get 60. I'm not driving that far. I'm sorry, it's the third car.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to put 3,000 miles on the damn thing a year. I don't need it to go far.
Yeah.
Will I take it on a couple road trips? Probably.
Because they ride nice, you just kill miles in it.
Exactly. But I'm not. The current car I have now, I'm coming up on that Equinox. I'm coming up on 2 years. I got 11.3 on it.
Yeah.
I'm only putting 5,000 miles on one car. If I have two, I'm not going to put any miles on it. I'll have to drive it just to make sure it runs.
Yeah.
And again, if something goes, it's mechanical. It's cheap to fix. That's why I looked at these things. And I would rather have that issue than possibly have to go get something a lot newer and worry about things breaking that just cost me an arm and a leg to fix. Like, my wife's car is kind of like that. It's a 2000 Ford Edge, and it's got one of those early sync systems.
It's a 2000?
2013.
Oh.
It's a Ford Edge limited front-wheel drive. I don't get all-wheel drive on my cars for a reason, because it's just one more thing to break. And frankly, I don't need it. if it's snowing that badly outside, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
The only time was when we went out to Western New York or Western Maryland. We went on a ski trip. Mm-hmm. And no, I don't ski. I'm 350 fucking pounds. But we let the kids go. We go with some other families. We have a good time. It was a little difficult getting out of a driveway one time because it was a little bit of a steep hill.
Yeah.
But on the third go, we got up it.
But if you think back,
we got momentum.
Back in the day, like when my dad grew up in Pittsburgh, people weren't driving 4-wheel drive or even front-wheel drive. They were driving big rear-wheel drive boats.
Yeah.
And just like, rocking them and, getting them out of parking spaces and climbing over snow, parallel parking in them over snowbanks in the city. So,
and I mean, I grew up in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Where we had snow. Mm-hmm. And I only had front wheel drive.
Yeah.
I had little front wheel drives. I mean, if we got stuck, you want to know what happened? The other 3 guys in the car got out and pushed from behind to get it through. Because I was dumb enough to drive through a snowbank.
So I went to college in York. York, PA gets a lot more snow than here.
Yeah.
And I was driving a Camaro. Now, the first one was a manual transmission, so it was, I'd start in third gear even, because it was a V8 that had enough low-end grunt to start in third.
Sure.
The next one was a Z28 with an automatic, and big, fat rear tires, and that thing, but you know what? I made it through.
Right.
So, it's like you manage, you get spoiled. Now, we have an all-wheel drive sedan. It's awesome, but what happens is, if that snow gets deep, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Once the snow gets over the bumper, it's done too.
Yeah. So the way I saw it was I could spend like $20,000. I'd have to finance it first of all. Mm-hmm. For a car with more tech in it, that's probably more likely to break.
Yeah. For
a third car. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about one of our 2 main cars. I'm talking about a third car. Or I can get something for under $10,000. Might have to put a little bit of work into it, but something I'll really enjoy. Mm-hmm. Because I've always thought they looked great.
They do,
but they were always so expensive.
Yeah,
I couldn't afford them. Now I've got an opportunity I can pay cash for it if it's under 10. Because you got to. No one's financing those things.
Yeah,
and I get the utility that I need out of it. Mm-hmm. And maybe I can customize it a little bit. Maybe I can put a sound system in it. Because I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it to my newer car, but if I got a beater that I know I'm going to hold on to forever, I'm going to probably do it.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. I mean, yes, that car is going to be 17 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, no joke. 17, right? 2006 to 2023. That's how many years? 4, 7, 17, roughly. Mm-hmm. Even if I can get 6 more years out of it, 20-something-year-old car. I mean, cars aren't made like they used to be now. They're made to be disposable now.
Yeah.
Back then they weren't. They were made to be able to fix. It was just like old appliances or older mechanical things were made so that they could be fixed when they broke down.
Yeah.
And it was worth keeping them. I mean, shoot, the washing machine and dryer I have, they're almost 20 years old.
Never get rid, because that high efficiency stuff is garbage.
It is. But it's made to break.
Yeah, it's made to refrigerators. It's all made to break.
They all got hip to it.
Yeah.
Where, oh crap, if we make a good product, we're killing future customers.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to need us anymore.
Yep.
Unless they want something new. Mm-hmm. If there's a lot more people out there that won't buy something unless it's broke.
Yeah.
Cars included. And these companies got real hip to that.
Well, my last 2 vehicle purchases were because, and I should have replaced the transmission in my Taurus when it died, but I just didn't feel like dealing with it. It was like, what goes next? And I probably should have just replaced the transmission in it, but I kind of wanted to buy a new car anyway. So it's like it's like if a TV breaks, I'm pissed off because now I got to go spend money on a TV. Right. But then part of me is a little happy because I get to get a bigger one.
Yeah.
And I've never gone. So like when my 55-inch died, when it broke, I replaced it with a 65.
Right.
And when I had a 37 before that. Then I replaced that with a 55. Then the 65 after that. So when this one goes, I might skip 75 altogether. I might go right for 85.
But then you got someone like me, though. I had a 48-inch Samsung in my house for over 10 years before I replaced it this year.
Yeah.
But I got the Samsung right over there. And I will reuse that.
Well, it's funny because now I've become the destination for old TVs. So I have your mom's old TV in my basement. Jared gave me
and you had Jeff's old TV too.
Yeah, that one finally died.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't die. The backlighting went out over the rest of it. Only one corner was working. I held on to it for a while because I thought maybe I'll fix it just to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at, by the time I ordered the parts, and then you need a special tool to remove the screen. You essentially need those suction cups.
Yeah.
On a TV that size, you have to have two people doing it.
Yep.
You need to have a place to work on it. To do it, it's about 1,000 screws you got to pull out.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm going to get it apart, and I'm never going to put it back together again. So it went to the dump. But now I've got TVs for, and yet is the TV, the old one's old? Yeah, but they work.
Yeah.
They're not my primary. I'm not having the Super Bowl party watching on those TVs.
No, but they've made the replacements so affordable that you don't fix the old ones.
Yeah.
It would almost cost more to fix the old one than to buy a new one.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with appliances. Because to get an appliance person to come out, you're looking at $300.
Oh, yeah.
For parts and labor and everything. Mm-hmm. Where you could go down to Best Buy tomorrow and you could get their lowest cheap washing machine for $350. Mm-hmm. And if there's a sale, you probably get it for $3.
Yeah.
You get like an Amana or something like that. And that's a tough proposition to sway someone. Like, look, I can just skip all this hassle, go to Best Buy. They'll deliver it, take my old one out. Mm-hmm. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Or I can look for an appliance repairman, which is difficult to begin with. I got to wait for them to come, wait for them to tell me the parts are like $300 just for parts.
Yeah.
And then another $150, $200 for labor. So now I'm like $600 in. The difference is, though, if you fix that old one, it'll last another 20 years. Whereas if you go buy that Amana for $300, you got 3 years in it.
Yeah.
4 at most before it breaks. And then you're doing it again.
Well, that's...
So that's where I'm kind of at with this car. Like, yes, it's old. But as long as the body doesn't rust out from it, I can keep replacing mechanical parts for cheap.
Yeah.
And it will run. Even if I had to swap out an engine. Because they made so many Sierras, so many Silverados, so many Tahoes, Escalades, and Yukons, including the XL, ESV, and whatever variants, or Suburbans, you can get remanufactured engines and transmissions all day long, and you'll probably be able to get them for the next 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, it might be 17 years old, but if all I'm looking forward is to getting another 6 to 7 years out of it,
yeah,
I think I can do that all day. Mm-hmm. And if it costs me under 10 versus some of the, have you seen? I mean, the cost for a new one of those things is 70 or 80 grand.
Yeah, and that's not even spec'd out.
Right. I mean,
you spec it out. You take a Suburban. You spec it out.
Go LTZ, right?
LTZ Premium or High Country, whatever it is.
Call it now, yeah.
You're looking at $100,000.
Yeah.
For a Chevy.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
I mean, think about what's a base Tahoe you think right now?
Base like LS?
Yeah, 50.
I by the time you're out the door, I think you're probably closer to 60.
So, or I can get one of the older ones for 10 grand.
Yeah.
And not have a car note.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you listening to the show. Please subscribe.
We never tried the second bourbon.
I know. Well, stay tuned for the next episode next week. We're gonna open up another one or two of these things. But thank you for stopping by. Again, the whiskey we tried this week was Old Forester 86, smooth drinker. Tastes like a watered down whiskey a little bit, but a very easy drinker for all you starters out there like us. About $34, $35 for the bottle. I would definitely buy it again though, Although I think I'll probably end up trying a different Old Forester, just because they've got a couple in this under 100 proof area. So I might try a different one just to see if there's a little more flavor in some of these others. I think there's a Old Forester 1910 and 1920, I believe, is another one. So I might try one of those and see if I like those. But this was a good one, and I would definitely recommend again. What do you think about it?
Oh, yeah, I'd drink it again.
Easy drinker?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you for stopping by. Like, subscribe, smash that like button, comment, share. If you'd like to sponsor an episode, give us email, contact@drivewaybeers.com, and we will see you next time.